Welcome to today's episode. We're going to take a quick look at an inspiring story of growth, resilience, and the power to reinvent oneself. Our guest is someone who's journeyed through the healthcare field, overcome personal crossroads, and emerged with new hope. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here and share a little bit about what's been a wild, rewarding ride.
Let's dive right in. I have to ask, you've spent 15 years moving through so many roles in healthcare, from a medical assistant to an EMR trainer, care coordinator, and even HR. That's an impressive range. What first drew you to this world?
I've always had a calling to help people. That's really the thread running through all those positions. My journey started pretty humbly as a medical receptionist, but the energy of a busy clinic and those connections with patients, that grabbed me early on. Over time, I just kept reaching for more, wanting to learn new skills and impact more lives.
I love that. And you weren't just clocking in and out either. You've launched community health programs, improved safety scores, and even developed training for staff. Can you tell us about a project or moment you're especially proud of?
Women's Health Day comes to mind. That was a community program I helped design and roll out. Something practical, something that actually moved the needle for our population's health. Seeing more women come in for screenings, seeing the statistics shift. That was real, visible impact. It's incredibly motivating to see your work change lives in tangible ways.
It definitely is. Now, when I look over your career, there's a clear sense of growth and evolving challenges. But what happens when the bomb isn't just a job anymore? When it feels like part of your identity, but might start costing you personally?
That's a poignant question. It really hits on a turning point for me. There was this moment where the stability, the title, it just wasn't enough anymore. I call it the waterfall moment. Standing at the edge, toes curled over, terrified to let go. It's hard to describe how intense that feels. I had to decide whether staying would feel like a slow death or if leaping would hurt more.
I can imagine that must have been gut-wrenching. What was running through your mind at that time?
A whole storm of emotions, honestly. There's a line between loving the work and letting it completely consume you. I felt raw, exposed, like sharks were circling. I remember hanging up the phone after telling someone I cared about that I was leaving. Sometimes you crave maternal safety. You just want someone to tell you it's going to be okay. Ironically, my own mum was fighting her own battle then, cancer. It put things in perspective really fast.
That's so powerful. It sounds like you hit a wall and realized you needed to look after yourself. Was there a defining moment afterward that made you feel like you'd made the right choice?
There was, actually. My son looked at me and smiled. Kids have this way of cutting through all the noise. He just said, "Don't cry, Mummy, it's over." In that split second, I felt myself coming back, health seeping back into my bones. That clarity was unexpected, but liberating. I knew I'd done the right thing, even though it was terrifying.
That's beautiful. And I think so many people listening can relate to that fear. What happens when we walk away from something safe, something we've poured our souls into? It's not easy, but you did it. Where did you find the strength?
In honesty, I didn't always feel strong. The aftermath was like staring at yourself in the mirror and meeting someone you don't quite recognize. Red eyes, exhaustion. But I realized I could only go forward. Every time I felt like sinking, I remembered the promise of brighter days. Sometimes your greatest strength is the decision to climb out of the mud, no matter how heavy you feel.
What helped you rebuild? Was it passions or new experiences?
I started from scratch, making plans, being cautious. I even took on small business, coffee sales, becoming a barista. It was humbling and a world away from clinical care, but it made me see just how adaptable I could be. Then, as I healed, I returned to what I loved in healthcare with new boundaries, fresh energy, and a wider skill set.
It's so interesting, that leap from healthcare to coffee, then back again. Was that intentional or more about rediscovering yourself?
It was part necessity, part therapy. Life outside healthcare moved slower, and each coffee I poured was a chance to breathe. It helped me realize that my identity isn't tied to one job or even one industry. The skills, empathy, organization, adaptability, They go where I go. When I came back as an EMR trainer, I brought that openness and perspective with me.
Let's talk about skills. Over the years, you've been hands-on with clinical procedures, learned all the software tools, and even handled emergencies. What do you think makes someone not just survive, but thrive in healthcare?
Versatility is huge. You have to adapt daily, whether it's handling a crisis or learning a new system. But at the core, it's about heart. You can teach someone how to give a vaccine or fill out an Excel spreadsheet. But listening, de-escalating, teaching others, that takes more. It's about being there for patients and your team, even on the hard days.
Your journey also involved a lot of mentoring and onboarding. What did you learn about leadership as a trainer and coordinator?
Leadership is less about directing and more about guiding. I realized the importance of onboarding, not just training in tasks, but helping new hires feel safe, welcome, and empowered. Reducing turnover isn't about incentives, it's about creating community. When people feel valued, they do incredible work.
It also sounds like you've learned as much from setbacks as you have from successes. What advice would you give to someone at their own crossroads?
Don't confuse your job with your worth. There's a risk in staying where you're not growing, but there's a bigger risk in losing yourself to comfort. It's okay to walk away, even if it feels like failure. That can be your starting line, not your finish. And remember, love, faith, family. Those are the things that will anchor you through career changes.
That's advice we all need to hear. Before we wrap up, what's next on your journey? Any dream you're chasing now that you want to share?
I'm focused on blending all that I've learned, clinical expertise, management, community health, with a renewed sense of purpose. Maybe one day I'll write more or help others through tough transitions. For now, I'm enjoying the process and staying open to new adventures.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. Your resilience and honesty are genuinely uplifting. Any final words for our listeners?
Just this, your light is worth protecting, no matter what anyone else says. If you feel called to leap, don't let fear hold you back. The climb is hard and falling hurts, but you'll rise stronger every time.
Well said. Thank you again for joining us and for your candor. And thanks to everyone listening. Remember, every ending can be a powerful new beginning. Until next time.